Oh, hey! Welcome back to Glap Farm. It's chicken feeding time. We have a couple of bucks in with the chickens, so they tend to come out here and eat the grain and the corn too. So, just another one of my daily chores. Feed the chickens, feed the goats, feed the dogs, feed my husband, take care of the animals. So, let's go make some sourdough bread. Today we are going to make some sourdough bread. This is a really simple recipe, so easy for anybody that's never made sourdough before. There's only a few ingredients in this today. We have a starter. We are gonna use AP flour and wheat flour. Originally this recipe calls for bread flour, but apparently everybody's making bread right now and there's no bread flour in the store. See, I had to change this. What bread flour? Now it's wheat flour. A little bit of sea salt. If you don't have any sea salt, you can use iodized salt, kosher salt, whatever salt you have on hand just to give it a little bit of flavor. We're gonna use a little bit of olive oil, and then we need some warm water. So what I'm going to do is, I've got a digital scale here. It does ounces, pounds, and it does grams. So this recipe is in grams. So what I do, I put my bowl on the scale and I hit for the tare and let it come up to 0. Then we're going to start with this starter. Now this starter is very active. I fed it this morning. All it is flour and water. I started this right around the stay-at-home order. What it is a half a cup of flour and a half a cup of warm water, and I mix it all together. I leave it out on the counter, and then the next day I feed it. I poked a couple holes in this ball jar lid so that it can breathe, and then every day that I leave it out, I feed about a half a cup more of flour with warm water, and then I mix it all together. So nice and bubbly. This is right where we want it. We're going to do 150 grams of the starter. Here we go. Whoops, I forgot to change it. All right, 150 grams of starter. Warm water, 250 grams. Now, add the water to it to get the 250, I hit tare again. It brings it back down to 0. So 250 grams of water. Uh-oh. 2 grams off. There we go. Hit tare again. And we're going to add 25 grams of olive oil. There we go. Then we are going to add 10 grams of salt. This is Himalayan pink salt. There we go. Now what I'm going to do, because I'm mixing AP flour with a wheat flour, this calls for 500 grams, back to 0, 500 grams of bread flour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 400 grams of AP flour, and then only 100 grams of the wheat flour. There we go. So, if you can see this, if you want to come in here, we're just going to mix this up. Starting to come together. Now at this point, I'm gonna get my hands in there. Now a little trick, I always used to use extra flour on my hands, but if you dip your hands in water, then it's supposed to help make it not so much stick to you. And you just kind of want to work it in together. Of course, this trick is not always the best when you're trying to get dough together. Okay, if you want to come and look at this now, we're not trying to shape it or form it, we're just kind of combining it right now. All right, so at this point, we're going to cover it and let it rest for 30 minutes. So we'll give it 30 minutes. Okay, so it has been 30 minutes, and what we're going to do now is going to work it a little bit to a ball. I'm going to put it into a clean bowl. Now, if you wanted to add some herbs or roasted garlic, because I've done this, roasted garlic is great. This is a point where I would add any extra seasonings. Now, I did pull out my bin of dried morels. These are the morels I found last year, and I dehydrated them in our dehydrator. So the last batch I made of these, I took these and I put them into a spice grinder or coffee bean grinder, and I added them to my dough at this point. It turned out very nice. It was really mild morel flavor, but it went very nice with that. So you could add other flavorings to your bread, but for the sake of, say, beginner's sourdough today, we are just going to keep it plain. So now I'm going to wrap it. I like to use plastic wrap, but you could use a clean dish towel. We're going to cover it. I have a proof button on my oven, so you can proof this or set this aside for 1 to 3 hours, depending on the temperature of your house, if you put it in the proof or whatnot. So it takes about an hour for this to proof in the oven with a proofing thing on, but you want it to double in size. So I'm going to turn my proofer on and we'll be back in an hour. Alrighty then. So it has been actually about an hour and a half in the proofer. Now something that I didn't mention is the temperature you want to let this rise is about 75-80 degrees. So if you want to take a look at that, we've about doubled in size. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get this out. And we're going to do a little bit of kneading. And we're going to do a stretch and fold. Throwing down a little bit more flour. I'm going to roll, stretch, and fold. Stretch. And we'll do that 3 or 4 times. Then I want to shape it into my ball. I want to coat it in flour. So we've got a nice ball here. I've got a little bit of cornmeal I'm going to put in the bottom of my Dutch oven. We're going to put this back in. I'm going to put that into the Dutch oven, just like that. And I'm going to put the lid on it. And I'm going to put it back in the oven for about an hour to let it rise again. Okay, so if you want to take a look, our bread is doubled in size. Filling that out. I pulled it out the last 10 minutes so that I could turn my oven to 450 degrees so it could preheat. So right now I'm just going to score my bread a little bit. I'm going to put the lid back on. We're going to turn the oven down to 400, put this in. We're going to bake it at 400 for 20 minutes with the lid on. After 20 minutes, we take the lid off and we bake it another 40 minutes. All right, so it's been an hour. After 20 minutes, I took the lid off, baked it another 40 minutes, and look at that. Now, remember how I rolled it in flour and said you need to cover it in flour? Well, trial and error, I've done this a few times. If you don't, this will stick into the pot. So, into your Dutch oven pan. So there we go. Nice sourdough bread. Now, you want to cool this on a rack for at least an hour. Don't beat, it's so hard, it's so tempting, because right now, I'd love nothing more than to slice this open, put a little bit of butter on it, and chow down, but it needs an hour because it's still steaming, it's still cooking on the inside, so let it rest at least an hour before you want to eat it. What I do, once they're cooled off, I'll put them in either a brown paper bag or a Ziploc bag, whatever you've got, and I keep it on the counter and we'll eat it for the next few days. Now, because I've been making a lot of bread, I also have like 2 or 3 other loaves going right now. So this loaf I'm going to give to my neighbors across the street from us. They're always very good to us, an older couple and their brother. So this will go over to their house in about an hour. So next time, I can tell you already that this is very good, but next time we're doing stir fry, because that's what we had for dinner tonight. Shrimp stir fry on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in, and from our family to yours, stay safe and be well.